love, and family is all we know. Welcome to the Buford Show. God, love, and family is all we know. Welcome to the Buford Show. Welcome to the Buford Show. How y'all doing out there?
Hey, beautiful people.
My name is Charles.
And I'm Leanna.
And welcome to the Buford Show. Okay.
We got this.
All right, we on.
All right. So for today's topic, we're going to talk about
how we met.
Are y'all ready for this one? I don't know if y'all ready for this one. It's kind of juicy, but so we gonna get into it, right?
So, it's a funny story. I'm gonna give you a little context. We both were soldiers in the military. I had just got to Korea. She's already in Korea. I had a soldier who was getting promoted, and she thought it would be nice if she introduced us to. So she was like,
yeah, I have a friend, you like her, you know, she's from New York.
I'm like, okay.
But
she has a boyfriend. I'm like, you try to hook me? Are you trying to hook me, or are you just trying to introduce me and hoping for a hook? So yeah.
All right. So she said I had a boyfriend, right? So like Charles said. So yes. Backstory. Yeah. So I had a boyfriend, right? We were kind of rocky. So I knew he was leaving Korea in like a month. So I'm just like, you know what, this relationship, it's not working. He kind of already showed signs that when he was leaving to go back to the States, that he had a girl back in the States waiting for him. So I already knew, like, once he left it was going to be over. But I tried to spare myself of the agony of breaking up with him, and we lived in the same building. So just trying to spare myself of the agony of seeing him every day and the awkwardness, and I didn't want to go through any of that. So I was just like, you know what, we're just gonna face this out. I already knew that relationship was gonna be done for. We were just waiting it out, right? So our mutual friends, John A, along with her husband Terrence, so they told me, they're just like, like, we have this guy that we want you to meet, and John A is just like, you know, I just got this new sergeant and I want you to meet him. I think you would like him. So me knowing, like, yeah, I already have a boyfriend, but I'm just like, okay, like, I'm interested. Like, okay, you think, you know, I'm gonna like this guy or whatever. And so she had the promotion dinner. So that night, my then boyfriend was supposed to go to her promotion dinner because he knew her as well, but he knew her through me. So he was supposed to be at the dinner, but one of his close friends was having a going away dinner that night also. So originally he said, I might be late to Johnny's promotion dinner because I'm going to this person's dinner. And I was like, no. Just take your time. You know, this is like your best friend. Like, just go ahead. Just go ahead and go to his promotion dinner, because I was plotting. Don't judge me. Judge about my favorite life.
I never knew about this though.
Yeah, I was plotting. So I was just like, yeah, don't worry about it. She'll be fine. Like, your friend needs you. Show support for him. And we'll see you later, because everyone used to go to this club after at night. So everyone used to go to the same club, all the black folks.
So my whole thing is, when she told me that she had a boyfriend, I'm like, then okay.
Who told you that?
John A told me that she had a boyfriend. She was introducing me to you, and yes, you had a boyfriend, but she wasn't too fond of him. We get to the restaurant, you know, we're chilling or whatever the case is. She's not there yet. But
I'm always late, as usual.
The truth. So I get up to go to the bathroom, and mind you, I didn't know this was happening, but she was actually, you want to tell this part?
Okay, so obviously I was late, and me, like, I don't like walking in and being like the center of attention. So I'm sitting outside the door instead of going in. I'm on the phone and I'm calling John A, like, okay, like, where are you in relation to the door once I walk in? And then as I'm on the phone getting ready to walk in, I see this nice chocolate man. And I was just like, who that? So by the way, obviously the promotion dinner was at a restaurant. It was like a fancy Chinese restaurant, Holy Chow. But we didn't make eye contact. Like I just saw him and I was just like, damn, that guy's fine.
Yeah, I was making my way to the bathroom. I wasn't looking for no one.
And he just like walked straight past me, like I ain't even exist. Just breeze past me. So yeah, so I get to the table and like we're all, talking or whatever, and I'm just like, okay, like I'm looking for the guy that she said, I would like. And I'm like, okay, I don't know this guy is, whatever. Not really checking for him, but I'm just curious,
Yeah, just curious.
So yeah, and then
Excuse me.
that fine chocolate brother that I saw comes back from the bathroom and is making his way to the table. And I'm just like...
So anyway, we get introduced.
Wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
Sorry. So, okay, go ahead.
Good.
So I didn't expect him to be, because usually when your friend is just like, oh girl, like I have someone that I think you would like, you're like, yeah, whatever. So to be honest, I didn't think he was going to be on my level. Like I didn't think he was going to be up to par. I thought he was going to be degular, like just, somebody's just like, okay. And she was just like, oh, he's a sergeant. So I assumed that he was an older man. But yeah.
So by this time, we've been introduced. We've exchanged words, things like that. Janae introduced us. Obviously, we know that we're both from New York. So
what was your first impression of me, though?
So when I first saw her, I was like, okay, she's a cutie. And I was like, but she has a boyfriend, so but she's a cutie though. I mean, but
just a cutie. That's it.
Yeah, she was fine.
That's it. Come closer.
I can come closer now. Not at the restaurant, but now I can. But anyway.
So the initial interaction was, so Johnny introduced us, and I was just like, you from New York? And he's just like, yeah. And I'm like, what part? He's like, the Bronx. And I'm just like, and we don't mess with the Bronx over here. And he said something smart because he got a little smart mouth. And it was something smart to the point where I was just like, I was speechless. But we were vibing. Like, it was cool.
Yeah, it was a cool vibe. Definitely a cool vibe.
We was vibing.
So yeah, there was somebody in between us the entire time. So we were doing cross talking or whatever the case. And he was like, bro, do you want to switch seats? Like, you want to sit right here? I'm like, nah, you good?
And I was like,
yeah, because
he didn't want to sit next to me. I was just like, damn, like he's kind of intense.
Yeah, so let's fast forward. Let's fast forward a little. So obviously we finished eating our food and all of that. It was fun. And then they was like, we're going to a club after this, and I'm like, okay, let's go to this club. So when we get to the club, right, her boyfriend is there.
Remember I told y'all that he was supposed to meet me at the club at the end of the night? Yeah, he was at the club.
Yeah, so it was crazy because, like, mind you, I knew she had a boyfriend, so I was respecting all of that. I wasn't trying to push up on her or nothing like that. We was vibing though, so we was vibing. We leave the restaurant. Our friend Johnny and her husband Terrence. It's them two, and it's me and Leanna.
No, and then Keith was there. It was a bunch of other people there.
You sure? What happened?
So
that's what
I
saw.
had went to the store because I was cheap. Like, I'm not gonna pay $15 for a drink, so I just went to the store real quick and got me a little bottle of soju or whatever.
Oh yeah, I
and
remember
then
that.
so I left,
that did happen.
and then I came back. So I kind of came to the I don't want to say the party late, but like, yeah, so I came in after John A., Terrence, Charles, and a couple of other people from her dinner were there. And then when I walked in, my boyfriend like comes up to me and he's like, who's that dude? I was like, what you talking about? He's just like, that dude right there. He looks like he's waiting for you. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? I just met him. I don't even know what you're talking about. So basically, my boyfriend, he just started doing the most. Like, at that point, I was not a PDA person. Like, we not going to hold hands in public, don't kiss me in public. Yeah. Now I am a Dana.
Yes, I was about to say, I don't know.
And then so, my boyfriend just started showing his behind. and he just started like trying to kiss me and like grabbing on me. Like I felt so uncomfortable, and it was embarrassing. Like it was really embarrassing. So, but he was basically trying to like make his presence known and kind of like mark his
territory.
Yeah,
like hey, you know.
So what was your impression of like seeing this happen? Like,
so I didn't know, you know, anything about their relationship. I mean, if you want to show your woman love, I mean, you show her some love. But it was just funny.
And so like Charles, he was cool. He was regular. He just played it cool. So yeah, Charles left and Johnny and Terrence left, and I was still in the club with my boyfriend who was acting a damn fool. So that night, he ended up getting into a fight. And my silly behind, I was like a ride or die chick, you know. And mind you, like the MPs come into the club, so
military police.
Yeah, so the military police, they come into the club, and my boyfriend, I guess he punched like a big dude, and the guy like punched him, and he was just like clean, this bust open, it was just like leaking blood. So you know, I'm from Brooklyn, so I'm just like, you know, rah rah, like you can get it, like whatever. And then the MPs, like, we were MPs too, so we knew them. They're like, get out the club, just leave. Like, hurry up so y'all don't get in trouble. So we left. And then he's like to me that night, like, oh, I love you. You my ride or die. Yeah, whatever. So what were you thinking, like, after you left the club? Like, did you think about me? Did you, like, what was your whole, like...
So, my whole thing is I'm not going to pursue somebody who's already in a relationship, you know. But I was definitely interested. I'm like, you know, she is...
I wait for it.
Man, like, if she was single, I would definitely, you know what I mean, pursue her.
He was so smooth. Like, and it was just, like, between me and Bae, like, well, Charles at the time, right? Like, you could tell, like, there was a vibe. Like, the vibe was, like, explosive, but it was kind of, like... I stayed in my place because obviously, even though I know this relationship is about to end, I still have a boyfriend, and he kind of stayed in his place because it's just like, damn, she's fine, but like I'm respecting boundaries, like she has a man. But yeah, so the following day, I ended up going to a party, and long story short, like I lost my phone, and then someone gave me, the MPs, my co-workers, gave me a ride across the bridge because they were just like, oh yeah, your boyfriend, he's at this club at this hotel. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go meet him. You know, didn't think anything of it. So I'm like, hey, can y'all just drive me over there? They're like, okay, cool. So we're driving across the bridge, and I seen a guy and a girl. And something tells me, like, to say, like, hey, is that, we're gonna call him Ricky Bobby, just for sake of privacy, right? My boyfriend, Ricky Bobby, right? So I'm like, hey, is that Ricky Bobby? There was a guy and a girl walking across the bridge, and the MP who's driving, he's just like, yeah. I was like, let me out, right here. So in the middle of the bridge, he let me out, right? So there's a sidewalk on the bridge where Ricky Bobby and some not so cute chick was walking across, right? So I run up to Ricky Bobby and I confront him like, hey, like, oh, this is what we do. Like, you know, Baby Brooklyn came out, long story short. I'm not gonna go into details.
It was an eventful night.
It was eventful.
Yeah, so we're gonna leave that right there. Anyway, so the next day, you know, that was Saturday, now it's Sunday, so we're at church, you know what I mean?
Oh, mind you, Ricky Bobby.
No, we ain't gonna go there because we ain't trying to put nobody out like that. But anyway,
Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, anyway, so the next day
Ricky
we had
Bobby played the piano at the church, right? Wait, but I gotta go back to this. Ran up one dude and the girl, and he's just like, I'm like, oh, so I'm not your girlfriend? Like, this is what we doing? He's like, Leanna, come away, you're drunk. And then he's like, and I'm like, no, so I'm not your girlfriend? And he's just like, no. And we gonna leave it right there. And, long story short, he was no longer my boyfriend at the end of the night. Yes. So yeah.
After
now
that,
I'm a free woman.
That last comment. So she's single. It's Sunday. You know, I see her because I go to church. I sing in the choir.
Yeah, sing.
And
Hit him with a little thing.
anyway, man, let me
Give
finish
him
the
a little
story.
something.
Dearly beloved. All right, so now it's Sunday, and like she's like, you know, she has to tell us something. I'm like, okay, so she's like, the story she just explained to y'all, and we like, what? I'm like, for real?
Plotting.
I'm like, where he at though? I'm like, I'm sad, but I'm happy sad. Go ahead.
So while I'm telling this story, right, like, I'm talking to Johnny, her husband Terrence, and Charles is there, and it's kind of like the new guy who you kind of interested in. You don't want to share a story in front of him that makes you look crazy, because then he's gonna be like, nah, I don't want no parts. So and while I'm telling the story, I had to look at him like, oh, by the way, like, I'm not crazy. And then he said, what'd you say to me? You remember? All right. So that he said, he's just like, I wouldn't. He's just like, no, you're not crazy. He pushed you to that point. I would never push you to that point. I was like, oh, okay.
I said that?
Yeah. I remember it like it was yesterday, because that I was kind of like, I was like, oh, okay.
So after church, we're planning on going to the movie, so we invited Leanna, right? So it seemed like it was already going into like a double date thing, but
it's still fresh.
It's still
right?
fresh, yeah. So I don't want to seem like a fiend. So I didn't, I didn't press up on her the entire time. I just, just was there as a friend. So now we decided we was gonna go to the movies. But before we went to the movies, we actually went out to eat. It was Fridays. I ordered my food, and she was ordering steak, and she said something about the price, and I was like, don't worry.
So I wasn't ordering steak. I was like, I'm a steak girl, right? So I'm looking at the menu, and I'm frugal, so I'm like, I don't want to pay no 40,000 won for no steak, like. But I'm like, man, I really want the steak, but like, I'm cheap, like I don't. And then. So
I was like, don't worry about it. I'm gonna be a gentleman. I'm gonna, pay for your meal.
And I was just like, oh, okay. And I was turned on, yes, because it was just like, even though we were all out, like, it wasn't a double date. We kind of went as like friends, I guess.
Yeah.
So the expectation because the expectation of him paying for my meal, it wasn't there.
Exactly.
And then when he said he was going to pay for it, when obviously he didn't have to, because it
was just a nice gesture. And then at the same time, obviously, I'm interested in her.
So at the movies, right? So I'm just like, okay, like, he just paid for my meal. So I'm a little bit open at this point, right? Just a little bit. Because usually when guys pay for stuff, you assume that they want something, right? Or obviously, like, they're interested, whatever. So we're sitting next to each other at the movies, and I'm like, okay, like, he's about to put, like, his arm around me. Like, this joke ain't do none of that. None of that. Now I'm, like, kind of like trying to position my body, like
Anyway.
None of that.
We had a good time though. The movie was good.
It was,
so we left the movies, and, we all rode in one vehicle. So the whole time we're, laughing and joking.
Good times, good conversation, vibing again, because we were both in the back seat. We were vibing.
But anyway, so they dropped me off first. So mind you, like, I'm thinking in my head, as we're getting closer to my area, like, should I ask her for her number? And then I was like, nah, she probably expect me to ask her for her number. I just paid for her meal. We had a good time. Everything was vibing. Everything was perfect. But I was like, it's still fresh. And also, I want her to want me to to ask her for her number, but I'm not going to do it. So they dropped me off. I tell everybody good night. And then That was that on that part.
Yeah, he told everyone good night, right? So as they're driving to drop him off, so I'm thinking in my head like, ooh, he's about to ask me my number, he's about to ask me my number, he's about to, like, I'm all like, you know, giddy inside, like, ooh, how's this gonna go, you know? This joke was like, all right, yeah, y'all have a good night, and I was just like, once we closed the door, I was just like, yo, this dude is cold-blooded. And I'm just like, you know, now I feel some type of way.
So now, like, you know, now time is going past and I haven't seen her for like a week and a half. So I'm like, low-key, I'm getting worried because I'm like, she's available right now. You know, she's very attractive. I already know dudes are going to be on her. You know, so I'm like, I want to just, no, I need to get in contact with her. So I didn't have her number. Remember, I never asked her for a number. Every time I ran into her, that's the only time I was able to speak to her. So I'm like, hey, Johnny, can you do me a favor? Can you do me a favor and tell your homegirl, you know, that, you know, I would like to talk to her, you know, I'm feeling her, you know. But I didn't tell her to tell her, you know, I'm feeling her. Just let her know that I want to speak to her. So, Johnny comes to you and
she tells me like, oh, my NCO wants to speak to you, and I'm just like, it's like I'm panicking, like, oh my god, okay. So yeah, did you call me or?
So I think.
Yes, you have my number.
Yes. Did I call you or text you?
You called me. Yeah, you called me.
Okay, so obviously, so I called her, you know, to set up a meetup so I can, you know, speak to her in person because I didn't want to, you know, let her know what I was going to tell her over the phone. So we meet up in a central location.
Well, it's closer to where you live, right? On a hill.
Yeah. So and at this point, you know, I'm over here, you know, I was rehearsing lines, like to make sure.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. So these are the lines that I came up with, though. It was not something that I, you know, read in a book or something like that. But I just wanted to make sure I was on point because, you know, I felt like she was a woman and I needed to come to her correct. So with that being said, I had everything planned. You know, so when I got up to her, I basically expressed to her how much
confessed his love for me.
My like for her.
Confessed his love for me.
Yes. And what you have to understand, and this is just, you know, me speaking as a man, I already knew, you know, I was thinking in my head, I already knew, you know, I wanted her to be my wife.
But so when we actually met up and he confessed his love for me, so he was very like straightforward, and I always said the man that, because like my entire life, like men have been intimidated by me for whatever reason or another. So, and I always said that if a man approached me and, you know, was confident and told me straight up how they felt about me, like he was the one for me. So Charles basically was just like straight up direct, like, you know what, like, you're beautiful, you have a dope personality, I have a good time when I'm with you, and you give me butterflies inside.
I didn't say all that. I did not say all that. But I actually did sing for her, though. I actually did sing.
He cheated. He cheated by saying.
I don't even remember what I sung. It was a Jamie Foxx.
Baby, my country.
How does your garden grow? Yeah, that
sing the rest of it. Okay, well, no, I'm gonna revisit. You go sing the entire thing you said. But yeah, so he was just very like straight up, and I was just like, and he's just like, you know, like, I'm really feeling you. Like, I would love for us to, you know, spend more time together and take things further and see where it goes. I'm not sure how you feel about me, but this is how I feel about you. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, whoa. Like, for a man, like, to come direct, like, and basically pour his heart out without even worrying about...
Without hesitation.
Yeah, without hesitation. And, you know, like, regardless of how I felt about him, he had to get it off his chest.
Yeah, because
on how he felt about me.
It was really, like, on me, like, bro, like, you better.
Like, I
could tell she was surprised.
It was just the most, like, I admired that. Like, I really admired his confidence, like, and especially like I said, being a woman who men are typically intimidated by me, for him to just have that confidence to approach me and be direct about it, like it just blew my mind and it won my heart. It did. So then fast forward, so in Korea we actually started just spending more time together in the church. So
yeah, so as I said earlier, I sung in a choir, and it actually it influenced her to join the choir.
I can't sing. I can't even hold a note. Well, I could be a background, so I was playing in the background, but I just joined the choir because he was in the choir, and I love God too. So yeah.
And she developed a love singing.
So yeah, so we just, our foundation was God. We used to study. It was a book called like The Principles of Jesus Christ together. And just kind of like just go over it and just like really dig deeper into our spiritual relationship. And we also had like a good group of friends there as well.
Yes.
Shout out to Georgie, Shayna, Erica, who else? Natalie, Tony.
Kill us. What?
Cordell and Haley. And so yeah, we had a good group of friends there.
There's a few more, but I can't remember names. I remember the faces. But yeah.
And obviously the Thomases. Shout out to the Thomases.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
And yeah, so our relationship was groomed in the church, basically. That was our foundation of our which would soon turn into love for one another.
Yes.
So so this is the beginning of our love story.
Yes, the very beginning.
And if you guys like what you see, stay tuned.
Please subscribe, comment down at the very bottom on what you want to hear or what you want to hear us talk about.